Welcome back, Beans Army, to another episode of the Less is More Sports Podcast, the college offseason podcast where you could say we're less of the regular season, but more of the offseason. Like most college basketball fans, me and Ryan cannot get enough of this insanely talented freshman class. So, what we're going to do here on the podcast today is that Ryan and I are going to give our own top 10 of the best freshmen in this year's college basketball class. I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty entertaining show. And Ryan, I don't know about you, but when I was making the list, I was naming off all the talented freshmen and was like, somebody's going to be left out here. And it's not going to
Yeah,
be fair. Because, I mean, I was going down the list and I started naming names and I'm like, oh, yeah, it seems almost unfair that they're going to be left out. Like in any other class, they would easily be comfortably in the top 10, but that's just how talented this class is.
yeah, I agree. And I was going through mine, and I was just like, I'm hoping I don't forget anyone that'll look dumb on me. Like, there's so many freshmen that are good, and I'm glad it was. I was just looking through lists just to make sure that I didn't forget any. I don't think there was a lot of like diamond in the roughs that just like came from like no recruiting rankings that are absolute ballers now. So they're more towards the top. I mean, there's some like four stars that are absolutely going off, but yeah,
I
they were
mean,
more towards the top, so it helped me out a little bit.
I'd argue Ibuka Corey has entered the chat on that one because he wasn't really a highly touted recruit. He was like
Maybe he's
100.
on
He was
your
like
list.
150th in the country.
Maybe he's on your list.
He's not. Spoiler.
Oh,
He is the
wow.
he was the first one to get cut.
Oh,
And
wow.
the reason he is not on my list is because I saw firsthand what someone like Dame Sarr did to him. Lock that ass up.
Yeah. So it's
Put
Dame
put him
Sarr
in
on your
that put
list.
him in that seatbelt, as
Yeah.
Will Campbell would say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bad time to talk about Will Campbell.
It kind of is.
Yeah. No, but yeah, as we were discussing, I mean, we both have Trent Sisley up there.
Apparently, in the group chat, Matt also blames Reed Bailey for all the national tragedies that have ever occurred in the
Oh,
history of time.
yeah, I know. It's a tough time for Mr. Reed.
Poor Reed. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't even know Reed Bailey, but poor guy.
Yeah, but no, there's definitely a ton, and I was going down my list and I forgot one name, and I was like, oh no, this guy's supposed to be like middle of the pack, and so I had to like move all my names down, and there's just so many good freshmen, and I've never seen this before. I mean, last year's was good, but it wasn't like it wasn't this tier, which it was just like I would say it was just a tier right below, just because of the depth of this freshman class is nuts.
Yeah, well, I think I've said it on the podcast before, and I'm going to say it again that this is the best freshman class we've ever seen. At least, at the
Yeah.
very least, in my lifetime. I'd argue ever. But without further ado, what Ryan and I are going to do is we're going to start at 10, work our way down to 1. And Ryan, I'm going to let you go first. Who is your number 10 ranked freshman in this class?
I want to. I want to give him a real quick honorable mention,
Okay.
because he was left off the list, but he's still a baller. I left Koa Pete off just right like at 11 because I mean he's just a force in the paint. He's built like an absolute linebacker. I think we see that, and he uses his strength and like to get rebounds and to power his way through to get a bucket. But it's just there was so many that I left him off, and it was really between him and Braden Burries who I was going to leave off. But with number 10, and this is kind of like a shout out because this guy hasn't had like the full season that some of the other freshmen have, and that's Elijah Arenas. I want to give my shout out to Elijah Arenas. He's been absolutely balling the past couple of games, like three 20-point games, um, the past three games, and we know he had a terrible start to the season with, a very bad Cybertruck crash, and then he also had an injury that put him out for a while. But he's back, and he's becoming USC's best player, and not Chad Baker Mazzara. So yeah,
I didn't know Chad Baker Mazar was in the discussion as USC's best player, but hey. But yeah, I
it's
also want to say
likely.
I did leave out Elijah Arenas off my list, but only because he's only played 3 games. But
Yeah,
Absolutely. Like what Ryan said, what he's done in those 3 games, nothing short of amazing. I'm glad to see him back, glad to see him healthy, and
yeah,
can't wait to see what Elijah Arenas has going forward. He's a very talented recruit, really was really high on him in the recruiting rankings.
yeah.
I could literally name off like 10 honorable mentions because that's how insane this
Oh yeah,
class is. Like Ibuka, Corey, Mikael Brown Jr., guys that did not make my list, so go ahead and spoiler. But coming in at my number 10 is ironically Ryan's honorable mention. That's Koa Pete. And the reason I am still a believer. If you listen to the Less is More Sports top 25 rankings every year, I had Koa Pete probably higher than most recruiting sites, and there's a good reason for that. Like Ryan said, he's a force in the paint, very skilled player. I compared him to a Paulo Banchero like player when he was in the high school rankings. Now, I think the reason he's slipping in this list to me is because mainly system fit. I don't think he's a good fit necessarily in this offense. I mean, he's shown flashes like against Florida with a 30-point game, but in other games, it just seems like they don't do enough to get him the ball. So I think he's only slipping because of how he's used in that Arizona offense versus the season that some of these other freshmen are having. So coming in at my number 10 is Koa Pete.
no, I see that too, though. They just have so many scores, and I definitely see that too. Whenever I like watching them because I like watching real basketball, and Louisville doesn't provide that to me sometimes. So, so yeah, I cheer for Arizona sometimes too. But I definitely see that with the system fit with Kobe Pete. But I'm still a believer, definitely. He just was my honorable mention. It's okay.
Fair enough. So who's coming in at your number 9?
My number nine happens to be a person that is local to me, and that is Michael Brown Jr. I think there's definitely some highs and lows. I think the lows would be sometimes it feels like he's still playing high school basketball with the shots that he's taken and maybe the decisions. But I mean, he's got all the talent. Like he can shoot, he can get to the rim. He's he's a very athletic player. He can be smart. He had there was a lot of games where he was out due to it was saying back, but who knows what was going on. But Michael, I still love watching him. He's obviously on my favorite team, so he's gonna come in at my number nine spot. He's an absolute baller. He owns NC State now with scoring 45 points, but yeah, he's just an absolute baller and. He's back now from the injury, and we're definitely glad to have him back.
Coming in at my number 9 is a player that I was notoriously low on heading into the season. And I say low as in significantly lower than most recruiting talking heads, and that's Nate Ament. You know, I questioned, his physical and mental maturity for the college game, but to his credit, Rick Barnes has tapped into his ceiling and now he's molding into a very good player. I mean, he was averaging 24 and a half points over a 4 game stretch. He added a 29-point game against Kentucky. I mean, this is a very talented player. There is no question about that. It's just can he handle the physicality? Can he handle the mental battle of a long college season? That's what I had questions on. But Rick Barnes did coach a very similar player to Nate Ament and Kevin Durant. So, like I said, he's tapping into that ceiling, and we're starting to see the talented player that the scouts saw when he was coming up through the recruiting rankings.
Yeah, I think we have similar interests. People say that great minds think alike, and I'd say we are decently good minds that think alike.
Decently, yeah.
Um, Number eight, and you talked about Kevin Durant. Number eight, I have Nate Ament. And I'm not saying he's him at all. Like I'm not saying
No,
he's
not
Kevin
at
Durant
all.
at all.
Absolutely, no.
But he's built like him. He's like the skinny, tall guy that can do everything. Like he can shoot, he can get to the rim, he can defend. But he's been a force for Tennessee and the Rick Barnes team. But we had Isaac McNeely on him, and he gave Isaac McNeely problems. But that was a matchup, that was a matchup problem. I don't know why we did that. But I like Nate Ament. He can shoot, he can do everything. I think he's getting better with the physicality that we were talking about, preseason. So he is my number eight player in the top 10 list.
Well, to be fair, I think a lot of people give Isaac McNeely problems on defense.
That's true. That's
Coming in at
true.
my number 8, as a lot of experts are talking about Houston being the favorite to win the national championship come April, as notoriously as we all know, Houston is known for their insanely aggressive defense. But in years past, they've kind of missed that offensive spark. But that is exactly where my number 8 player comes in, and Kingston Flemings. He's the offense, the go-to guy in this Houston offense. And he's shown, like in a 42-point performance earlier in the year, that when he gets hot, Houston's a tough team to beat, which ironically enough, I know the irony of that statement because he scored 42 points in that loss to Texas Tech. But with him being the primary bucket getter on a primarily defensive minded team, that's why I think I have him number 8, is because he's basically in a position where he just has to focus on scoring, maybe playing a little bit of defense, but his teammates kind of handle the rest of the dirty work. So coming in at number 8, I have Kingston Flemings.
All right, that is time for my number 7. And coming in at number 7, I have the Arkansas guy, the John Calipari guy, Darius Acuff. Um, I think that I've said for a while that I thought he was better than Michael, even being a like Louisville fan. He's just, I mean, what was that one time someone said he's got that dog in him, you know? He's just
Hmm.
got that dog in him. But no, for real, he's he's just an absolute baller. He gets to his spots. He takes smart shots. He can shoot. He can do everything. And he's like I feel like he's just a pure point guard, and one of the few like point guards that I have in this list and that will go into the NBA draft. So I think very highly of Darius Acuff. I think he could be really good at the next level, and he is my number 7.
This is the first entry on this list where we agree on a player at the same spot because I also have Darius Acuff. He's one of the best combo guards in this class, and he's the best player and the catalyst on arguably a top 2 team in the SEC. And not to mention, as we saw with Jordan Smith Jr. committing to Arkansas over my Duke Blue Devils, and many, many before him, there's just something about John Calipari and that guard lineage of development. So there was a saying in the NBA draft, and I'm going to say this on another segment later, not to spoil anything, but there's a saying in the NBA draft that one of the safest picks is always a John Calipari guard, and I think Darius Acuff is the next in line. So coming in at my number 7 is Darius Acuff.
Yeah, I agree. He's continuing that guard play for Mr. John Calipari. Um, Coming in at my number 6 is someone that you've already named, but it's okay. We're not that far. I'm gonna go with Kingston Flemings from Houston. I love watching this guy. He's just so smart for a freshman. On the shots that he takes, the decisions that he makes, and that's got probably a lot to do with Kelvin Sampson being like, the typical like older type of coach, like old school, I meaning not old age, but old school coach that's helping him with, not having these freshman mistakes, but he gives him a spark on offense. He's a really, really good defender, and he's Houston brought some talent back, and they have Chris Sennick coming in too, but they're gonna look to go back to the Final Four and compete for a national championship with this team with Emmanuel. It's Emmanuel Sharp. He wants that get back from what happened against Florida, and so yeah, Kingston Flemings just adds a different level to this team, and I think that he can take them very, very far.
Coming in at my number 6, and the fact that he's coming in at 6th, given what I'm about to say, just shows how absolutely loaded this class is. Coming in at my number 6 is Braden Burries of Arizona, and I'm going to be the first to say this. This is the Con Knipple of this class. Like Knipple, he came in as the lower hyped recruit on his own team, and like Knipple, started a little slowly offensively, but he's molding into a player that can give you a nightly 25. The more and more I watch him, the more and more I like him. And he's
Mhm.
really become that focal point of an Arizona offense that was the last Power Four team to lose a game. Just, he's a player that's growing on me. The more and more I watch Braden Burries, the more and more I'm sold. And he reminds me so much of Devin Booker as far as his playing style. But coming in at number 6 is Braden Burries. And the fact that he's 6, I cannot stress enough, is insane.
Yeah. I agree. I'm definitely high on Burries, even though he like didn't make my list, but not everyone can make the list.
Yeah, there's so many players we got to leave out.
Yeah, it's jam packed. But all right, that is on to my number five, and I think we got introduced to this guy when he went off for a game which was in the 40s. That is Keaton Wagler. I have him number five. Obviously, we
Before
got
you say that, I'm gonna say this to rehash the point that we've made this entire show. Keaton Wagler did also not make my list.
wow. Okay,
Yeah,
but, it's okay. We 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 have our own list, so this is why. But yeah, we got introduced to him basically whenever he scored 46 points against or at Purdue, which is insane at Purdue because that's obviously a very tough environment. But he put the team on his shoulders, and he also had 34 this past game. So he's an absolute baller. He can shoot. He can do anything for Brad Underwood, and he's just, he's taken off as a freshman, showing who he is with a pretty good team in Illinois, with all the veterans that they have and the overseas type players. So yeah, I have Keaton Wagler as number five.
yeah, that was another freshman that I had to leave off the list. And it's like he's having a very good season. There's just some things about his game that I question about potentially translating to the next level that I don't question with some of these other players. I think that's ultimately what it came down to for me. But definitely having a great season. Again, this is why this list was so hard to make. Coming in at my number five is a player that I was insanely high on in the recruiting rankings, and he is making me look really good right now. And that is Baylor's Tonde Yesufu. Baby Ant-Man has arrived. I was high on him in the preseason, and his 37-point game against BYU solidified why. Not to mention, you look at the season Keontae George is having in Utah, you look at VJ Edgecombe's rookie season, and as much as I talked about this John Calipari guard lineage, we're starting to trust Baylor's guard lineage in the league and Scott Drew's development. And I think Tonde Yesufu is going to be next up. So coming in at my number five, I have Tonde Yesufu.
Yeah, whenever I was watching the McDonald's All-American game of all these freshmen, I guess just last year, I feel like it was Yesufu versus Peterson. Like I just kept seeing them go back and forth, and they were getting to the rim at will. They were shooting at will. Yesufu just dropped, I think, 37 against BYU, which is crazy, but he's an absolute baller, and Louisville actually plays him today, so you know,
He about to go
pray
for
for
40.
him. No, he's gonna have an off shooting day. It's gonna happen. Those days
Not
happen.
if
Michael
not if
on
Isaac McNeely
on
guards him.
shooting day. What?
Not if Isaac McNeely
Well,
guards him.
we've learned. Okay, we're
Have
not
you?
gonna. We have we
Is that a
have
direct
we're
quote from Coach Kelsey?
no, but it's a direct
Thank
quote
you.
from
Good
the guy.
man, because I know it wasn't.
Yeah, no, but in his head, we've learned. We cannot do that.
One
We
could
cannot
hope, right?
put a liability on him. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, is Clemson gonna go off against Duke today?
They very well could.
Yeah,
They
it
very
could
well could.
happen. I don't see it happening, but all right, that is on to my number four, and I have a guy that just received unfortunate news, and that is Caleb Wilson. Unfortunately, he got injured, but I hope he comes back healthy and comes back even better in a couple games. I know he's out for a little bit. I think he might be out for the Louisville game. I'm not sure, but he's an absolute baller. I think coming into the season, I didn't expect to see from him. He looks like still has a baby face. He looks young, and most of these freshmen do. I mean, Michael has a biggest baby face of all, uh, but Caleb Wilson, I don't think we expected how good he is with being able to, get to the rim. He's an athletic forward that can go dunk at any time. So he is my number four, Caleb Wilson.
I would be willing to put all the money in the world that my number four is the lowest you will see this guy ranked. But I think Ryan knows who it is because I've said it on the show a million times. Coming in at my number four is AJ DeBonsa. And again, this is lower than most would have him, but same things I've said in the past. Offensively, he's as gifted as any recruit you'll find. But mental toughness, empty stats, lack of defense continue to be an issue for me. So that's why I have AJ DeBonsa lower than probably most you'll see.
Yeah, I understand that for sure. He's not my number four, uh, but it's we all have our own lists, you know.
Hmm.
Um, Coming in at my number three, I have a guy that Les kind of likes. His name is Cam Boozer. Cam Boozer, obviously, three is not like a disrespectful spot at all. I think I feel like he gets quiet numbers. Like I feel like it's not like super loud. It's nothing flashy, but he's just dominant in the paint. He knows how to get to his spots. He's a really smart player. He gets he gets like about 10 rebounds a game. And he's just dominant in the paint. I mean, he's very, very smart. He knows how to get to his teammates, and he's just there, and he's a confident like 20 and 10 basically. He's averaging over 20 points. So I have Cam Boozer at number three for me.
Coming in at my number three is the guy Ryan had at his number four spot, and that's Caleb Wilson. And look, listen, I owe Caleb Wilson the biggest apology. Of all the top 10 recruits in this class, him and Chris Sinak, I was the lowest on. But he's proved me wrong in every which way. He's become a nightly 20 and 10 guy who plays both sides of the ball. He can play off the ball, he can play on the ball. He showed against Duke that he's ready for whatever moment he needs to be. He makes a strong case for a team to draft him number one. And, obviously, like Ryan mentioned, I'm sad to see the fractured hand, and I'm hoping for a quick and full recovery for him. So coming in at my number three is Caleb Wilson.
Coming in at my number two is a guy that you just named not a couple minutes ago, and that is AJ Debance. I mean, we've been talking about how he looks like if a Tracy McGrady went to college, he kind of looks like that. His every step is intentional. He's very, very smart. He can shoot from anywhere. He can pull up for a mid range. He can shoot the three. He can go in physical and finish at the rim. So I have AJ. I haven't seen a lot of weaknesses at all. I just feel like, against Darren Peterson, he didn't play well, but he ended up scoring a decent amount. So I have AJ at number two, and I just see him being just an absolute baller in the league at the next level.
Well, ironically enough, coming in at number two is a guy you just talked about, just not the guy you named on your list, and that's Darren Peterson. Everything else aside, the injuries, the load management accusations, he's still the best guard prospect I've seen since Derrick Rose. I'm just going to go ahead and
Mhm.
say it. Nothing changes that. You don't get compared to Kobe Bryant for nothing. And honestly, I'm one to defend Darren Peterson and say that this is an example of Bill Self trying to save him from himself. But regardless, we're seeing with this Kansas team that they're learning to play without Darren Peterson. And I think that's just going to make them even more dangerous if they get a fully healthy Darren Peterson come March. But coming in at my number two is the best guard prospect I've seen since Derrick Rose, and that's Darren Peterson.
Yeah, and my number one is probably you could guess it because I haven't gave him a number yet. So my number one is Darren Peterson. And I feel like he's the best player. Like coming in, he was ranked number one, right?
He in some recruiting sites he was one, some he was two. It was him and AJ were one and two.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought. Coming in, I thought he was number one, and I still think he's number one whenever he plays and doesn't have flu-like symptoms. So, he's a ball. He knows how to get to the rim. You could tell in the BYU game. I think it was a BYU game. He can finish at the rim. He can shoot, and he showed that early when he was playing his exhibition game against Louisville. Like this guy, whenever he plays, and I hope he continues to play because that helps Kansas out so much. And it was very impressive for Kansas to beat Arizona without him when they probably found out like 10 minutes before. But Kansas has improved, Flory Badunga has improved, but just them having Darren Peterson, who I think is the best freshman in this class, just helps them out so much, and he can do everything and anything. So I have Darren Peterson as my number one freshman in this class. Homework pick.
I think it comes to no surprise to anyone who listens to this podcast who my number one player is. I mean, it's Cam Boozer. And did you think it would be anyone else? I mean, he's the player of the
No.
year. He's the player of the year favorite, leads Duke in 4 of the 5 main stat categories. Most importantly, what I have to say about Cam Boozer is that if you want highlights, maybe you pick some of these other guys. But if you want to win at the end of the day, that's who you pick. I mean, he has one of the best high school resumes in high school hoops history, and he's done nothing short of changing that at Duke, despite the loss to North Carolina, despite the loss to Texas Tech where they blew double-digit leads. Duke is still 21 and 2 right now and still among the favorites to cut down the nets in April. Cam Boozer just continues a winning tradition. And for any NBA team that drafts him, he might not have the tape or the highlights that jump out at you like some of these other guys, but he has all the intangibles that translate to winning basketball. And that is ultimately why I have Cam Boozer as my number one player. And a little bit of a spoiler, this is primarily what I look for when I grade my top 25 every year, is I look for the players that have the most intangibles that translate to winning. And a little bit of a
Yeah.
spoiler, and a little bit of a spoiler for my top 25 coming out later on this year. That's a big reason why I don't have Tyron Stokes number one.
That's fair. That's fair. I did see obviously the amount of like stuff he won, and you were saying that AJ doesn't really have that, like with the winning type of resume, which I agree with. But you're pretty locked in because I was just leaning back in my chair and you didn't even make a face and I fell out of my chair. And it was not because of the pick. It was just I was leaning
I'm going
back
to be
and
completely honest. I thought you were just getting up because you didn't want to hear me talk about Cam Boozer. I didn't even see
oh
that you fell out of your chair. That's hilarious.
well, so that means I played it off pretty smoothly. All
You did.
right.
You did.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I was also getting out of the chair because I didn't want to hear about Boozer. No, I'm just kidding. No, Boozer's obviously a great player. But if he was a freshman, where would you rate where would you rank Seth Trimble on this list?
Seth Trimble would not make the list. However, that was a great shot.
Yeah,
And
it
if
was
anyone
good.
deserved that moment, it was him, given everything he's been through in his collegiate career.
Yeah.
I
I
will
think
say
we
that.
all want to see like a senior do it for a team, for not just for North Carolina, but for any team. A senior that's been there for a while and
He's
unfortunately
had his
on the
ups and
list.
downs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's had like he got injured in the weight room earlier this year, but he's healthy and back, and he's making three pointers.
Hmm.
That sounded like a ball knower.
Yeah.
But do you want to do we want to round off our list by repeating it again real quick?
Yeah, go ahead and repeat your 10, and I'll repeat my
My,
10.
okay, like number 10 or like all 10?
All 10.
Okay. My number 10 is Elijah Arenas. My number 9 is Michael Brown. My number 8 is Nate Ament. I don't know why I said it like that. Nate Ament. Number 7 is Darius Acuff. Number 6 is Kingston Flemings. Number 5 is Keaton Wagler. Number 4 is Caleb Wilson. Number 3 is Cam Boozer. Number 2 is AJ Devanza. And number 1 is Darren Peterson.
Coming in at my number 10 is Koa Pete. Coming in at my number 9 is Nate Mint. Number 8 is Kingston Flemings. Number 7 is Darius Acuff. Number 6 is Braden Burries. Number 5 is Tonde Yesufu. Number 4 is AJ Debonsa. Number 3 is Caleb Wilson. Number 2, Darren Peterson. And number 1, a surprise to absolutely nobody, is Cam Boozer.
Yeah.
That rounds up the top 10 freshmen in this class for me and Ryan's list as we just hit the 10-minute mark. So, as always, perfect time to say this: like and subscribe to the Less is More Sports YouTube and Spotify channel to get the latest updates we have on new content coming out. Be sure to follow the social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Threads. That's at Less is More Sports. And we got about 10 minutes left and kind of a record time for our infamous bull session on the podcast. And I was tipped off that Ryan has something he wants to talk about. So, Ryan, go ahead, get it off your chest. Say it with your chest, little guy.
Yeah, little. Okay. All right. We're gonna figure out if I'm little when we play basketball in the
You're going to
spring.
find out just how little you are, is all I'm going
No,
to say.
no, we're gonna find out that I'm not little anymore. All right.
Anymore. Ooh.
I'm technically an adult now. It doesn't
I'm a
feel
big
like it.
boy now. It's a Pampers commercial.
Yeah, I remember that one. But yeah, I just had a small thing to say, and it's a little shout out. because in the bull session we don't a lot of times we don't have like and maybe sometimes we have some scheduled like things we want to say in the bull session, but the bull session is for anything, you know. To start off, so my uncle, which is to specifically say it's my dad's sister's husband, you know, my dad's brother-in-law. He used to work for the Arizona Diamondbacks in the, you know, and kind of marketing and like sales and stuff like that. He was pretty high up. Well, I just want to give a shout out to him. He just got a job as the vice president and chief operating officer for the Kansas City Royals. And so, yeah, clap it up for my Uncle Kenny. He's obviously doing great things. He would have a job that is kind of a dream of mine for he's just working sports and mark in the marketing part of sports. And so he's the reason why my major in college is marketing, and I would love to do sports marketing like that. So yeah, congrats to him. He is now the vice president and the COO. Well, he's the COO of the Kansas City Royals. And a couple days ago, he just toured Arrowhead Stadium on the and went on the field and in the locker room. So yeah, congrats to him. And I can't wait to go visit and get a tour, you know?
Hey, if he's got like a Bobby Witt Jr. card he wants to just, throw this way, go right ahead.
Yeah. And if you ever find yourself wanting to go to a game out there, you know, you got you got a guy that can get you some tickets. And he can get tickets to other places too. Like we go to Reds games sometimes and he helps us out with tickets. Like he has a guy for like all 30 MLB teams
That's pretty
that he
sweet.
can. Yeah. No, but yeah, congrats to him and he's he's already moved there and is starting work quick. So, yeah.
Well, when the one-sided rivalry, and I say one-sided from a fan perspective, rivalry of the Royals and Cardinals come to town, I might have to just hit him up, be like, "Yo, can I get tickets?"
Cardinals fan?
Do what?
Are you a Cardinals fan?
I'm a St. Louis Cardinal fan, yeah.
Mm, okay. I
We're
didn't know
embra
that.
we're embracing the rebuild right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I might start. I mean, I feel like I should start cheering for the Royals now since
I think
he
you
kind
kind
of
of have to now. I mean, you have
yeah
family that works there.
yeah he kind of got me into liking the Arizona Diamondbacks, so I might as well start. You know, it's not jumping trains when your family works there. So
Not at all.
well,
Not to mention, I mean, there's a lot to like about the Royals. I mean, they have one of the best players in baseball in Bobby Witt Jr., and they have one of the up-and-coming players in Jack Caglione.
oh yeah,
So
ballers.
he'll have a lot to market, that's for sure.
Yeah. But so yeah, I just want to say that real quick. Is there anything that's on your mind about the bull session? And you know, unfortunately Matt isn't here. He would give us some topics. Like we can talk about the groundhog again.
That one got a lot of love on social media. I had so many people coming up to me at work. It was like, "You didn't know the name of the groundhog?" Was like, "No, I didn't know I was supposed to."
I didn't either, to be
My
honest, but
manager had my back though. He was like, I didn't know he had a name either. You think I care about a damn groundhog's name? I'm doing good to remember my kid's name."
yeah, that's hilarious. And some of my you had some comments from my family that was like my aunt was like, yes, it's common knowledge, but me and my uncle, her husband didn't know it either. So it's not that common knowledge. But I think I remember hearing about it when I was younger, but I totally forgot about the name.
I remember hearing the story of how Groundhog Day came to be, but I don't remember. I never remember the name of the groundhog.
Is it rigged?
Is the is the naming of the groundhog rigged? It sounds like
No,
it.
like the whole Groundhog Day.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
It's
Is it
100%
more?
rigged.
Is it is it more or is it less rigged than the NBA lottery?
Now that is the million-dollar question. I'm gonna say no. The NBA lottery is the most rigged thing in sports.
It is. I mean that it's getting ridiculous. And yeah, that was just the Mavericks somehow get the number one pick after losing Luka Doncic. Who
Yeah, and
knows?
they had like less than like 1% chance to do it too. And it
That's
just so
crazy.
happens to be that there's this generational player that's expected to go number one,
Yeah. Yeah.
ironically enough. Or like how Cleveland got the number one pick, ironically, the year that a hometown generational prospect is entering the draft in LeBron James, or how Chicago ironically gets the number one pick when a hometown perennial number one pick is coming out in that draft and Derrick Rose, or how the Spurs get the number one pick after just slightly missing the playoffs after David Robinson's injury, and they get Tim Duncan to pair up with David Robinson and make the Twin Towers of San Antonio.
Yeah,
I could go
there's
on and on.
so much evidence of, it being rigged.
Yeah,
But
there's so much like evidence, but not evidence at the same time, if that makes sense. I mean, there's so many moments where you question it, but there's nothing, no legality to it, I guess, is the way to put that.
yeah, it's definitely rigged.
Yeah, it's
One thing
rigged.
that but but yeah, I mean, I don't have much topics on my mind. There's some good basketball. I work 1:30 to 9 today. That's tough.
Well, you'll be leaving like right in the middle of the Duke game, so that sucks.
Oh, I wasn't planning on watching that anyways. Why would
Well,
I?
your loss. You get to see the my number one ranked player in this class.
Yeah, mine number what, 3? Yeah.
Yeah, you're number three, my number one.
Yeah, but Kansas plays Iowa State. Is Peterson playing?
Uh,
We won't know
we
till
won't
like
know until it tips off.
5 seconds before. But he's playing Iowa State, which is a very good team,
Yeah, I remember
obviously.
I was like staying up to watch the Kansas Arizona game, and I literally got it. I didn't even hear from any sports head. I was just busy like working on some stuff, and then my buddy texted me like right before they tipped off, and it's like Peterson's not playing. I was like, shit. Well, it's like, well, at least I get to watch Koa Pete and Braden Burries.
Yeah, and obviously that's kind of screws the it kind of screwed the betters at the time, but Kansas ended up winning anyways, so maybe it didn't. But yeah, they play at a tough Iowa State place today, and then Kentucky's been on a winning streak, and they go into Florida, which seems like Florida is starting to click and find out their identity.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think Florida's going to win that game.
yeah. And then Texas Tech at Arizona. There's some good basketball today, and don't worry because I'll be missing it because I'll be working, so it's okay.
Well, I might miss a little bit of it myself. It is Valentine's Day after all. So so happy Valentine's Day to anyone listening to the show today. Make sure to treat your significant other with love and respect on the day of love and respect.
Yep, I agree. And hey, I'm trying to think of something to say. Give me a second. Um, I'm trying to put this into words, uh, to make it sound right. All right.
Today, Junior.
Yeah. No, okay. Give me a second. Give me a second. Um, I don't know how to. This is a weird word to put into.
It
I'm trying
can't
to
be
use.
any worse than some of the things you've said on this show.
I think we've both said bad
Yes,
things.
fair.
Yeah. I don't know.
You
I
got
don't want
less
to.
than a minute.
Let me think. Let me think. Yeah, I'll just say this. I hope you have a trembling Valentine's Day.
It took you that long to say that?
No, I was gonna think of something more clever, but I'll just say that.
I hope you have a trembling Valentine's Day yourself, sir.
We can both do this whenever our teams loses, so it's okay. No one takes it to offense. But it's the perfect opportunity.
What am I supposed to do? Get mad? We
No,
lost. It is what it is.
you're still a good team though.
Yeah.